some noise for
Orange Juice and a Blunt.
Whoreson, the story of a ghetto pimp. "22. I pulled up in front of the Devil's Den and stared at the bar moodily. I've been trying for over a month now to cop Stella, the owner of the bar. It hadn't taken me long to find out she wasn't just another barmaid. I knew that she wanted me, but for some reason she held back. I meant to break through the wall of reserve she kept putting up, and I had reason to believe I just might break luck tonight. Generally, she didn't come to the bar, except on weekends. She wouldn't commit herself to a real date, but she had decided to come downtown tonight just to see me. Stella was sitting on the corner stool when I entered. "Hi!" she yelled, and waved in my direction. I smiled to myself. It was apparent that she had been drinking. I felt sure that half the battle was won. "Hi yourself," I said, as I sat down beside her. "Did you save enough for me?" She smiled and stared at me mischievously. "Yeah, Johnny, but let's not waste our time sitting around here drinking." Then she added as an afterthought, "You did say your name was Johnny, didn't you?" There was something about the way she said it that made me glance up immediately. She was staring at me in a peculiar manner. All at once it came to me. She was damn near out on her feet. I felt taken aback. It wouldn't help my plan if she was too intoxicated to realize what was happening. She leaned over towards me. "Come on, honey. Let's get the hell out of here." I was just down my line. I stood up and took her arm so she wouldn't stagger. The bartender gave me a cold look as we walked out, but the hell with him. He was the least of my worries. I steered her towards my car and helped her in, then got on the other side. She pushed the armrest up and slid across the seat so she could be under me. The street was nearly deserted as I drove through the downtown area. I started to stop and put the top down, then decided against it. It would sober her up too quick. I could feel her hand rubbing my leg up and down until she got up the nerve and began to massage me intimately. As far as I was concerned, that clenched things. I wouldn't have to wonder about her reactions when I pulled up in front of a motel. I stopped and bought a pint of whiskey, then headed for a motel in the outskirts of town. I wanted to make sure we weren't seen by anyone. She sat in the car and sipped on a cup of whiskey while I checked us in. "Come on, baby," I said lightly, jingling the motel key in my hand. Her skirt rose about her thighs as she got out on the driver's side. Again I marveled at her ripened perfection. We entered the room, holding each other tightly. I closed the door and kissed her passionately, then picked her up and carried her to the bed. When she returned my kiss, her tongue darted in and out of my mouth like a burning spear. Hot, stabbing jolts of sensation ran through me as I lowered her gently to the bed. I undressed her and kissed her feverishly on her neck, shoulders, and beautiful white breasts. Her nipples became hard under my probing lips. When I went down lower and kissed her on her navel, she shuddered, and her stomach grew tight. She began to murmur words of endearment as I worked down lower and lower. I proceeded to make love to her with slow deliberation, tantalizing her with the promise of joy she had never before known. Before she could become too accustomed to my love-making that way, I raised up and penetrated her at just the right time. She was tightly built, and a small scream escaped from her. I took her tiny waist in my hands and pulled her to me firmly, yet gently. Irresistibly, she clung to me in frenzied, delirious madness. "Please, Johnny, please, don't stop. I've never before had an orgasm." The words came out of her in a gasp. She tossed her head from side to side, then dug her nails into my back, screamed, and shook violently. Much later, I lay back and examined her nude body as she slept beside me. I grinned to myself. I had even surpassed my own expectations while making love to her. I had evoked sensations I didn't know women had. We got up the next day, late in the afternoon. When she first awoke, I played with her until she became aroused, then made love to her again, once more making her reach orgasm. Her eyes lit up from the fires I kindled in her. My skillful handling had given her astronomical pleasures and sexual sensations never before imagined. She was hooked. She couldn't keep her hands off of me. I had planned on waiting before I started to press her for money, but her behavior gave me an immediate opening. "Stella, it might be 3 or 4 weeks before I see you again," I said, starting to get a good lie together on the spur of the moment. She snatched at the bait. "Why, Johnny, here we are, just really getting acquainted, and now you're telling me you've got to go?" Her hands kept rubbing intimately until I stood up and walked to the dresser. I knew then that she would become a nuisance. Whether or not it was a flaw in my makeup, I didn't know, but after I'd made love with a woman, I didn't like to be bothered. In fact, I became downright annoyed if my bed partner didn't take the hint and give me some distance. "It's not that I want to go, Stella, but I got a car note due, and my rent's been overdue for the past month. I need something like $400 to get myself together." "Where are you going to get the money at when you leave here?" she asked point blank. "My father owns a store in Cincinnati. If I go back home and hang around for a few weeks or months," I added, "he'll loan me the money." She hesitated for a moment, then said just what I knew she would say. "If you stay here, I'll loan you the money." My first reaction should have won me an Academy Award. First, I pretended shock, then became indignant. My technique was beauty in motion. I allowed her to persuade me to accept the money against my better judgment. I stated with a straight face. Her face lit up with happiness. "Johnny, you stop by the bar tonight, and I'll have it for you. Better yet, why don't you just let me rent this room? That way the people down at the club won't have any idea what's happening," she continued, not giving me time to answer. "Suppose we just meet here, say, around 8 o'clock? I'll have the money ready for you." 8 o'clock, hell. I could read the bitch's mind. She meant to wear me out for that 400. "I'll tell you what, I got some business to take care of, so make it 10 o'clock. Before she could answer, I leaned down and kissed her. That closed the deal better than words could have. When she started to breathe heavy, I pulled her from the bed and slapped her on her rump. "Get dressed, so I can drop you off downtown at your car. If I let you, we'll still be here at 10 tonight." She grinned and ran into the shower. I relaxed a little. I don't think I could have stood another bout with her so soon. A while later I dropped her off and continued on home. For the past few weeks I'd been neglecting Ruby. I would have to give her a little attention before she got out of hand. For the next month I played both ends against the middle. Stella had become wise to what was happening, and Ruby knew I had a square girl for her wife-in-law. Even though I tried to explain to her I was getting big stuff from my Ofe, it didn't sit right with her. I think what really dragged her was that Stella was white. Black girls just don't like to stable up with white girls.